Alright, welcome to another Palia video. This is going to be a lot shorter than my normal ones. And, it's going to look at, our character and NPCs that we met. And mostly right here in this section, the skill levels. Our 8 skill levels that we have. Now, I was kind of thinking through it for a little bit of time here. And then, you know, how common are some of these skill levels in other skills in other games. Um, so like if we look at it, fishing occurs in a whole lot of games. Cooking occurs in a whole lot of other games. Gardening, farming, whatever you want to tie it, call it, occurs in a lot of other games. So does mining. Hunting's 50-50. Some games you have it in, some games you don't. Some games you're hunting mobs. Other games you're hunting players. But there's a form of hunting, I would say. The bug catching is a pretty new skill. I am not familiar with this in a lot of other games. So, when I look at bug catching, I just, it's a pretty new, unique, kind of ingenious idea that they did come up with. And then you got the foraging, fairly common in most other games. Furniture making, it's one of those 50-50 kind of things, I would say. Some games have furniture making where you're making the stuff for your housing, and in fact, that's what this furniture is for. It can only be used in your housing, but it's a skill level, so it's one of those where you kind of sit on the fence on. And so you have these skills. Up to skill level 10, you're just building up, purchasing recipes, building up your tools. So, we only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have 8 tools. Why do we have 8 tools? Oh, yeah, because our farming has 2. I was going to say, there should only be 7. Farming has 2. But you have 8 skills, right? 8 skills. You're building up your tools, you're purchasing all these things that you'd need to get there, getting your gold up, your renown, kind of working your best way up there. And then you come down here to the accomplishments. The accomplishments tab is pretty cool. Pretty good way of working through these. Once you hit to level 10, here is a weekly goal to complete. And you get the skill medals. From what I've seen, looking at the players, most of the skill medals are just not that great. Some of them, like hunting and foraging and mining, some of them do have the capability of being good. But when I go to here and look at, the furniture, like, oh, I hit level 10 on furniture making. And then I looked at what I can get for a skill medal. I was just like, there's 4 items and they just suck. So I'm hoping that there's going to be more medallion options coming into the game. We're still in beta, so this is a good point to kind of point that out. Be like, the medallions, this is a pretty good idea. But a lot of the rewards for this, capping it to 1,000 medals, I would cap out the furniture making and just not use it because it would cap out and would just sit there because there's nothing for me to get out of it. Fishing had a really lot of good amount of this attachments. There's some really good attachments when I was looking at the fishing for its skill medals. So building fishing skill medal is worthwhile. Whereas building furniture skill medal just, yeah, it'll come if it comes kind of thing. So, kind of, so it's hit and miss on the medals, and what you can do with them. But then the other big thing is we have all these players. And I've never counted how many. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. There are 23 players. Only 8 of them are tied to a skill. So you have, let's see, 23 minus 8, 15 of them not technically being used. But could they? Could we move some more of these players, these NPCs, into other skills and add more skills to the game? Give it, give us something more to do than just these 8 skills that, they're meh. Tamala is a really good example of a player, of an NPC, that would work well with a skill. I was thinking about this. She's an alchemist. Alchemy is not a skill on our list yet, but alchemy could be a skill, and it could be highly useful in the game. One, you could use alchemy to boost focus, or boost a skill and boost your ability in one of the other skills. Because right now we only have the Fisherman's Brew, and that's only on fishing. So what if you had a alchemy, a potion that helps boost your hunting, or helps boost you while foraging, or even furniture making? That gives you that little extra boost. Well, there you go. Alchemy has a little potion right there. Something pretty cool. Zeki, he's our shop owner. Really couldn't tie him. I thought about it, kind of pushed him around. What could we tie him to another skill? No, there's no skill that we can really tie to Zeki. He's our shop owner. He's our underground Grimlikin. Nothing that we could really tie him to. And he's going to be the shop owner and hold that, he's going to hold that place, which is pretty good. He's pretty good at holding that spot. Sifu is our blacksmith. I tried to think about it. Okay, can we incorporate blacksmith in as a skill? But building our materials, our mined materials, with which a blacksmith would, be the one that you would utilize to build those, is part of the mining. You get all that through the mining. So Sifu's and blacksmith, kind of lost that skill. It's not too bad. Not bad on the other side. Najuma. I would 50-50 say Najuma has a capability of a skill. Najuma is an explosives expert. She's an inventor. So, is there a skill level or something that we could use her as? I really don't see a skill too much in the game that could tie to explosives or into inventions, building new stuff. It is possible, highly possible, that we get a skill that ties into Najuma, that you could tie into Najuma. It's hard. It's hard to see it. Next one that I really kind of, after Tamala, was Nio. Nio is not a farmer per se. He is a rancher. He takes care of the Ormu. I'm pretty sure that's how you say it. But what if we add that as a skill? Ranching. Or, something like that. But you have it tied. And I was like, well, how would you fit in a space to put in, how would you put in a spacing for Nio and ranching? And this is how I thought about it. This is our housing plot. We have many plot spaces. Now, we do have capability of building out our house up to this. I don't think anyone will build out their house up to fill this whole thing. But what if you were to say, you can unlock the ranching skill by unlocking 4 plots. Not just unlocking 4 plots, but also fencing them in. So having 4 plots worth of fenced area on your plot, in your house area. Then you'd be able to build some sort, you'd have a pen, basically, is what you'd have at that point. You would have a pen that we could put ormus in, or chickens or something like that. something that allows us to get other materials that we're going to utilize for our cooking and for cooking, basically. We could probably tie the ormu into, okay, you can get the hair from it. Hair goes into fabric. We can build some sort of fabric. There's a couple different things, but mainly you get the milk from the ormu. Okay, we got milk. Now we add a skill to cooking where we can take that milk, turn it into butter. We don't have these options yet for some of these smaller items in cooking. So there's that option there where we could add an ormu, a rancher type skill. It would be locked behind something, it wouldn't be straight away you get it. It's like, okay, you got to have this prereqs. You'd have prereqs for it. And, but then you've got Nio, who's now tied to a skill. So that's 2 people tied to a new skill, or 15 people kind of sitting there, down to 13. You got Najuma, who's kind of sitting in kind of on the ledge, so there's not really much there. Next character we've got is Kenyatta. I really can't think of a skill tied to Kenyatta. She hasn't really shown an aptitude for a skill. She hasn't shown... she's shown a healer aptitude, but since there's no fall damage or anything like that, we don't need healers. But the thing is that even if you did have a healer, Kenyatta would not be our healer. It would be... where is he? Kanye. Kanye would be your healer as our guru, and that. He would be the healer role. So you could have a healing skill, but then you'd have to figure out a way to tie it in. The way the game's structured right now, you really don't need a healer, but could you use one? Well, what if you were to build herbs, potions, and stuff like that that could be utilized for other things? It's possible. So healer is a possible. We'll put that on the possible. So Kanye and Najuma are in the possible. There might be something there for them, but not much. Next we have Kenley. Kenley is our mayor. Really nothing I can tie to Kenley. Unfortunately, no skill there. He's kind of off in his little world. Unfortunately. Gina is a scholar. She's only shown scholarly pursuits. In fact, we don't see her as much in a lot of the other stuff, only when we're opening up shrines and stuff. Could we see her if we introduced more machines? I forget what they're called. But if we were to introduce more machines, could she be one that teaches us how to repair machines, how to fix parts? Maybe we introduce that type of thing. Possibility for Gina. Not much there. Gel, a lot of games have some sort of wardrobing. Right now we're really locked in. Either you buy it off the cash shop or you use the free-to-play stuff. But since there's no marketplace for players to really shift things between each other, except for when you request stuff, you wardrobing, not really much there, unfortunately. So, Gel is kind of would be left behind. Hecla, who is Gina's assistant, basically any skill that you could tie to Gina, you could also tie to Hecla at the same time. One he could probably... I don't know. Honestly, Hecla is a tough one. When I was thinking through him, very tough. Not much to tie to him, skill-wise. You got Esh. Esh is technically, even though she's not the town leader, she is the town leader. She's running the show, No skills there. Not really a skill I could tie into her, unfortunately. Eloise, also I couldn't figure out a skill for her. She is kind of like a mystic. She's just she believes in the supernatural, and there's no skill I could see tying in. Unfortunately for Eloise, there's nothing like that. Delilah, on the other hand, here's another highly good character underutilized. Delilah could teach us secondary cooking skills. Instead of having to buy butter, oil, and all this other list of recipes that we have to keep buying from Zeki's store, and, you know, things where we're trying to save our gold for something else, we're going to lose it because we got to go to the store and buy butter. Well, Delilah could be tied to that kind of recipes. A secondary cook skill level. Kind of interesting thought, huh? Because then we got secondary recipes. And she could have it tied to the fact that you've got to get to your cooking skill level up to 10 before it unlocks Delilah. So there's prerequisites again. Nio Delilah prerequisites. Kind of opening up some people's thought patterns, I might say. Kanye, like I said, he's a healer. There's not too much I could tie in with him. I couldn't think of much with Kanye, unfortunately. And then Clary's our librarian. The library's underutilized. I think there should be a way that you can go in, view more books, kind of research things, recipe, you know, maybe a map where it kind of focuses you into some, kind of points you to something else, something like that, where you could possibly tie you into pointing you in the direction of some of these mini quests. But really no skill level there for calorie, unfortunately. So, and then the top 3 are already in use. So honestly, we have 3 people out of our 15 really good uses, 2 that are questionable. That's 5. It's 5 more skills that you could possibly introduce into the game. Now, some people say, okay, well, if you're introducing too many skills, you might get skill overload. Well, I get frustrated a lot when I'm playing because some of these secondary skills could, in fact, help primary skills. So you keep the 8 primary skills and you add in secondary skills. Very interesting thought. Because when I go here, and I always take this as my example because this is the most frustrating thing I've ever done. I got to catch a catfish, flour. I had to go to Zeki's and buy flour every time I need flour. So I'd have to spend gold to get that. Butter. I have to go to Zeki's and buy butter every time I need butter. Let's see if there's another one of these. I know there's another one. I may have to just open up my inventory, and because I keep a lot of it in. Yeah, milk. Again, gotta go to Zeki's if I need to make this. Gotta go to Zeki's, buy milk, you know. And when you're a 10 and higher player, yeah, you're not spending out as much gold. I still gotta spend out of gold because I've got to build out my house. I've got to buy more worker plots so I can add more workers in. I've got to, you know, if I want to increase my farm, I need to increase my farm. So I need the gold for those other things. Going to Zeki's and spending it just so I can make soup is, you know, a little redundant. When I could have the opportunity as a secondary skill, egg is another one. You know, on your little ranch, you could maybe have some chickens and a couple ornaments. You know, when you start out, you expand it. You add more chickens, more ormu, you know, something like that. So the chickens give you eggs, ormus give you milk. And then from those, you can build other things you need. Oil, you could do it as a secondary learned skill, and be able to derive oil from, we have quite a few products that you can get oil out of. Rice, wheat, trying to think right at the top of my head where you can get a lot of oil. Get oil out of the animals. Animal fat is a oil, you know, location, and that's oil and eggs. So I mean, to make some of these, you've got to have these secondary items where you got to go to Zeki's if I stock up on something quite a bit. Let's say I still need 3 eggs. Over here, sushi, vinegar. I don't have vinegar. You know, I got to go to Zeki's to get vinegar. That could be derived from other things that we're, you know, collecting. Our inventory has quite a bit of things that we could turn into these other secondary tools. Probably not here on the materials list. Nope. From here, sweet tea leaf. I don't, and there's no vinegar there. But we come back up here to the farming. You could utilize onions to get vinegar. Not the best option, but you may have to introduce another farmable item for it. Grapes. Hey, introduce a new item. Then you can be. Then it makes it possible for vinegar. It gives people more options to do more things, I think. Because I've seen some players and they kind of get down to a certain point and it's like, okay, well, I can craft this little list of stuff. I got these couple glass items. I got 3 pieces of wood. You know, and I got these few bricks. You know, I got this little thing. And these are all used in other things that we're making. So, you know, so they are utilized. But then, you know, there's a list, like all of the cooking has some item. Almost all the cooking has some item. I have to go to Zeki's store and run all the way down to Zeki's, purchase it, and run all the way back to my kitchen so that I can make whatever item that is. Whereas this plot that I have way over here of farming items, we could turn into something new. We could turn it into something more, I would say. You know, give us something more. Where, you know, we got an apple. We got a bunch of apples now. Okay, well, where are the apples used? I've only found like a couple of spots. You know, there's not really any use of the apples. Apple jam. Juice here in the honey lure. It's a very small list. I'm just gonna put that out there. But what if we could use it in something else? What if we could use it for a skill? A secondary skill. Made primaries, 3 to 4 secondaries. Things that would give us stuff that we need to make the primaries. Give us more to do. Give us, you know, more options. You know, you know, sometimes when you have too many options, then some people, you know, get bored. I think, and from what I've seen in a lot of people, when they play 4 to 6 hours straight, and they get to level, then they get up all the way up to level 10, and they're like, eh, I got nothing left to do. I just level and I just do this other stuff. You know, there's the housing stuff still left to do. But what about the skills? You know, we can pick and choose what we want. I mean, this skill took me forever to get up. Don't even have it all the way up. This one's extremely hard. You need a lot of plots and a lot of stuff to get there. So maybe it gets some more tweaks in probably fertilizing, watering, hoeing, collecting, planting. You know, collecting is the only thing that seems to up your skill level. So then it needs other stuff to it. What about when we make the crafts? Making the crafts don't up our skill levels. You know, you know, making bug bombs does not increase my bug hunting skill. Should, you know, should be there, but it doesn't. So then, you know, and the skills themselves need some tweaks on themselves. You know, and they did tweak in the last patch, but what about starting to introduce some of these other skills? Things to help with other things. So, alchemy is a great outlet for giving something to boost other things. Always has been. Always been in that location in every game I've played. But it doesn't exist here. we just have a character who is an alchemist that we are not doing anything with except building our friendship level with and relationship if if you want that. But there's only 2 relationship slots. You got to pick and choose out of who you can do a relationship with. Not everyone's up for that one. So now something new comes along. We add in a little bit more. Um, you know, I don't think it would complicate out the game to add in a couple sub skills. I think it would help the game. It would help some things because then it's like, okay, I have milk. I can run out to my Ormus, collect milk, run back in, you know, make, now I got milk, I can make butter, then butter, I got the potato soup, and so on and so forth, make it much easier to be able to do things. There's a lot of things in a lot of my videos where I point out, well, I wish I could do this while I was out and about. Can't look at recipes while I'm out. Can't look at, I can look at what fish I've caught, where the fishes are, but what about recipes that utilize the fish? I don't have a way of actually looking at those. Hunting. I can't see if I kill Choppa, how many Choppa hides I have in my inventory. It'd be helpful to be able to kind of be like, oh, you have 10 Choppa hides in your inventory. Don't, you're good type thing. Or, something else like that along that lines. But, you gotta, I mean, there's a capability of branching out into a few other things to improve gameplay and make it more, I think it would make it more fun. I don't see as much community stuff unless it's like a flow tree popping up. There's not much reason to do stuff in community. I mean, there's accomplishments where it's like cook together, catch fish together, and but that's just make sure that you have other people catching fish at the same time. Chop magical trees, that happens consistently. Hunt together, hunt creatures together, and then mine nodes together. I don't know what the bug hunt is. Probably there's a bug hunt together, but I mean, I don't see many people bug hunting together. So what about farming? There definitely is going to be no skill for farming together because there is no it's not there. There's not a lot of community pushes into communities, certain community activities, unless you've got a bunch of friends playing or you're a streamer. Then you've got your community, and your community does like half your work, 90% of your work for you anyway. So, depending on the streamer. But I've seen some streamers where they've done nothing. They just let the community stuff do stuff for them, or they just do very little, And it's like, okay, well, yeah, you're not getting the experience, but there's not a lot of other experience. But this one was really focusing on skills, and are we missing something? Is there something missing in the skills? Is there something more that could be done with them? And I say, yes, there's a lot more that could be done with them. I have like hundreds of ideas floating in my little brain that I could do. Like I said, we had 3 people, definite sub-skill type capabilities, or sub-skill or secondary skill, or another skill level that we could have. So you had 2 more plus the sub-skill, something like that. And then we have 2 question marks. Possible things that can be done with them, but I really don't know out of my ideas. But, those are my thoughts. If you got any other thoughts on skills and stuff like that, throw them down in the comments. Let's discuss them. Maybe we can kind of get some feedback into the creators and see some of these things come around in fruition. I don't see as much user feedback turning into items that we could do. So, thanks for watching. You're playing Palia. Continue to enjoy Palia. If you're not, it's a referral link in the comments. Come join us. Try it out. See if there's things that I may have missed, or other people you may have watched miss, that you think could be in this game. I really don't know where you put a lot of feedback because I mean there's the Discord, but they don't seem to want feedback in there. It doesn't feel like it, but do the YouTube things like subscribe and all the other fun stuff. Got lots of Palia videos, and I've got other stuff coming up. My Palia videos might start tapering off now that I hit level 10 on a lot of stuff. Um, I've the next ones will be more. Next time I do Palia stuff, once I hit every level 10 everywhere across the board, they're going to be more focused on further down the line. Okay, hit level 4 with someone, or romancing. How do you move the romancing and stuff like that. Probably look at that. There's a Shep quest. What's a Shep? How do you get the Shep? You got to get to level 4. So therefore, I haven't done anything on Shep. But I mean, it does sit there. I haven't seen many people do it. So, that's there. But they'll probably won't be as consistent as they have been right now, where it's, about 2 to 4 hours of me just running around trying to get my skills built up. Now that they're up, there's less to do. It's more of me focusing on earning gold so I can expand the house. And that'll be another thing is, well, we expand the house and I need, start putting in furniture and other stuff and, building, making our house look cool. So that's another step, another process in here. So, but thanks for joining, and hope you're having fun.